The night was quiet, the kind of night where most people hurried home to their warm beds after a long day. The little diner on the corner glowed softly under the streetlights, its neon sign flickering as cars rushed by. Inside, only a few customers sat scattered across the tables, finishing late dinners or sipping coffee while lost in thought. The waitresses moved around slowly, tired after a long shift, and the smell of fried food lingered in the air. At one corner booth, a man in a sharp suit sat alone. His silver watch gleamed as he lifted his fork and finished the last bite of his steak. He was a man who looked like he carried the weight of the world with ease, confident, successful, and clearly wealthy. His presence stood out in the small diner, though he seemed comfortable eating quietly, almost as if he enjoyed the peace here more than any fancy restaurant. His plate was still half full, though he had pushed it aside, clearly done with his meal. He reached for his phone, checking a message, when something unusual happened. A shadow appeared near his table, and when he looked up, he saw a young woman standing there. She looked nervous, shifting her weight from one foot to the other. Her clothes were old and a little worn, not dirty but clearly not new. Her hair was tied back loosely, and her face showed signs of exhaustion, as if life had given her more struggles than rest. Yet in her eyes there was something soft and humble, a quiet kind of dignity that made her more noticeable than she realized. She hesitated, almost walking away, but then she spoke in a low voice, "May I have your leftovers, sir?" The diner seemed to pause for a moment. Even the waitress at the counter turned her head slightly, surprised at the request. The man blinked, not sure if he had heard her correctly. People asked him for business cards, jobs, money, or favors every single day. But this was different. She was not asking for riches, not even a chance. She was asking for what he was about to throw away. The words were simple, but they carried a weight. She did not beg. She did not lower her eyes in shame. She asked with honesty, but there was a trace of fear too, fear of being rejected, fear of being humiliated. The man leaned back in his seat, studying her. He could have easily waved her off or told her to speak with the staff. He could have ignored her, the way so many people probably did. But as his eyes met hers, he felt something shift inside him. Her eyes. That was what held him. They were tired, yes, but they were also filled with a quiet strength. He saw hunger there, not just the hunger for food, but hunger for hope, for a chance, for kindness. He was a man used to reading people, business partners, rivals, employees. He knew when someone was lying, when someone wanted something beyond what they said. But in her eyes, there was nothing but truth. For a few seconds, he didn't speak. She grew more nervous and started to step back, whispering, "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked." But his voice stopped her. "Wait." She froze, her hands twisting together. The man pushed the plate closer toward her. "You're hungry?" he asked, though he already knew the answer. She nodded slowly. "Yes, sir. I haven't eaten today. I thought maybe," she trailed off, embarrassed. The waitress at the counter was now pretending to wipe a glass, though her ears were clearly listening. A couple at a nearby table glanced over, curious about the scene. The young woman noticed and lowered her head, cheeks turning red. She hated feeling like she was on display, hated that her struggles had become something for strangers to watch. The man's heart softened. Something about her reminded him of long ago, when he himself had known what it meant to go without. People saw his expensive suit, his car parked outside, his success, but they didn't know the whole story. They didn't know that once, years ago, he too had stood in the shadows of a diner, wishing someone would notice. He gently slid the plate toward her again, but then he did something unexpected. "Sit down," he said. She looked at him in shock. "What?" "Sit," he repeated, his tone calm but firm. "If you're going to eat, you shouldn't stand like that. Please, Take a seat. Her eyes widened. She had only asked for scraps, for what he had finished with. She had not imagined sitting down at the same table. She glanced around, unsure if this was a trick, unsure if she would be shooed away by staff. But his eyes were steady, his expression serious, and slowly she pulled out the chair across from him. She sat down carefully, almost as if she might be asked to leave at any moment. The plate sat between them, steam still rising faintly from the food. She hesitated, looking at him again. "Go ahead," he said gently. Her hands trembled slightly as she picked up the fork. She took a bite, then another, trying not to eat too quickly even though her stomach ached with hunger. She whispered, thank you so much." The man watched quietly. He wasn't watching her the way some people watched the less fortunate with pity or judgment. He was watching because something inside him was moved, deeply and unexpectedly. He saw the way she tried to eat politely, the way she still carried herself with grace despite her situation. She was not just someone asking for food, she was someone who had fought hard, someone who had endured more than she was saying. And for the first time in a long while, the millionaire felt something stir in his chest. He realized this moment was not about food, not about leftovers. It was about being seen. It was about dignity. The diner around them went back to its normal rhythm. Cups clinked, waitresses refilled coffee, and the neon sign continued to buzz faintly outside. But at that corner booth, something small yet extraordinary was happening. Two strangers sat together, one who had everything and one who had almost nothing, and yet in that moment they were equals, two human beings sharing a meal. The young woman finished slowly, carefully wiping her mouth with the napkin, not wanting to appear ungrateful. She looked at him again, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know why you let me sit here, most people wouldn't." He smiled faintly, his eyes thoughtful. "Most people don't look close enough," he said. She didn't understand what he meant, not yet. But he did. He had looked into her eyes, and what he saw had already begun to change him. The night outside remained cold and quiet, but inside that small diner, something warm had sparked. Something neither of them could yet name. The diner was nearly empty now, the soft hum of the fridge and the clinking of dishes in the kitchen filling the silence. The young woman sat across from the man, still unsure if this was real or if she was simply dreaming. Just minutes ago, she had only hoped for a chance to take his leftovers home. But instead, she had been invited to sit at his table like an equal, eating the same food he had been served. It was a kindness she had not expected. The man leaned back in his seat, quietly studying her. He was not judging her appearance or her shabby clothes. He was watching the way she held herself. Even in her nervousness, she had a gentle grace about her. She ate slowly, trying not to look desperate, even though it was clear she was hungry. He noticed how she tried to hide her shaking hands by keeping them under the table whenever she could. He noticed how she whispered thank you after almost every bite, her voice soft but sincere. He found himself wondering about her story. People did not end up in situations like hers overnight. There was always something behind it, some hardship, some sacrifice. And in her eyes, those eyes that had caught his attention so strongly, there was both pain and strength. Finally, he spoke. "What is your name?" She paused, swallowing quickly before answering. "Anna," she said softly. "My name is Anna." He nodded. "Anna," he repeated, as if testing the name, letting it settle in the space between them. "I'm David." She looked at him and managed a small smile. "Thank you, Mr. David, for letting me sit here. I only meant to take a little food to get through the night." He shook his head. "No need to thank me. Everyone deserves to eat. It shouldn't be a luxury." The words touched her. So often, when she asked for help, she was met with cold stares or harsh words. People treated her as if she had done something wrong just for being poor, as if asking for scraps was a crime. But this man was different. He spoke to her as though she mattered. For a moment, she looked down at her hands. "Most people don't look at me that way," she admitted quietly. David tilted his head. "Most people don't really look," he replied. "They see what they want to see." His words lingered in her mind. She wanted to tell him everything, but she didn't want to burden a stranger. Still, there was something about his steady gaze that made her feel safe. And for the first time in a long while, she let her guard down, if only a little. "I wasn't always like this," Anna said carefully. "I had a job. I had a small apartment. Things were normal. But then the company I worked for shut down. I lost my job. I thought I'd find another quickly, but weeks turned into months." Her voice shook slightly. "I have 2 younger siblings. They're still in school. I couldn't let them go hungry, so I gave up the apartment and we've been staying wherever we can. Sometimes with friends. Sometimes, not at all." She stopped, afraid she had said too much. But David didn't interrupt. He didn't look away. He just listened. "And tonight," she continued softly, "I hadn't eaten all day. I gave what little money I had left to my brother so he could buy a sandwich before school tomorrow. I told him I wasn't hungry." She gave a small, sad laugh. "But I was." Her words hit David harder than he expected. He had been rich for so long that sometimes he forgot what hunger felt like. But he remembered, faintly, from his own childhood. His parents had worked 2 jobs each just to keep food on the table. He remembered the nights when he pretended to be full so his younger sister could eat a little more. And now, sitting across from Anna, he saw that same kind of sacrifice reflected in her. "You're strong," he said finally. Anna looked up, surprised. "Strong?" "Yes," David nodded. "Most people don't know what real strength looks like. But I do. And I see it in you." For the first time that evening, her eyes filled with tears. She quickly blinked them away, embarrassed. "I don't feel strong," she whispered. "Most days, I just feel tired." "That's what strength is," he replied gently. "Doing what you must, even when you're tired. Even when no one sees it." The diner's waitress walked by and refilled David's coffee, giving Anna a curious glance but saying nothing. She had been watching the exchange from a distance, and even she could feel that something unusual was happening at that corner booth. David took a sip of his coffee and then leaned forward. "Anna," he said, "do you know why I didn't just hand you the food and let you walk away?" She shook her head slowly. "Because when I looked into your eyes, I saw more than hunger. I saw someone worth knowing. Someone who deserves more than leftovers." Her lips parted slightly, but she didn't know what to say. No one had spoken to her like that in years. Silence fell between them for a moment, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was the kind of silence where 2 people understood that something deeper was happening. Anna looked down at the plate. She had finished the food, but she still felt full not just from eating, but from the kindness that had been shown to her. She whispered again, "Thank you." David gave her a small smile. "Don't thank me yet. This is just dinner. The night isn't over." Her brows furrowed slightly, not understanding what he meant. But deep down, something told her that this moment, this meeting, was only the beginning of something larger. Outside, the cold wind blew across the streets, rattling the neon sign. Inside, the warmth of the diner seemed to grow. 2 strangers, brought together by chance, sat across from each other. One had everything money could buy. The other had nothing but her quiet strength. And yet, in that moment, they were connected not by wealth or status, but by the simple act of truly seeing one another. Anna looked into David's eyes once more, and she felt it too, that strange, unexplainable spark, as if a miracle was quietly unfolding right in front of them. The diner had started to fill again, the usual evening crowd drifting in from the cold streets. Anna and David remained at the corner booth, talking quietly, as if the rest of the world had disappeared. The lights reflected softly on the table, and the smell of fresh coffee mixed with the faint aroma of fried food. It was a simple place, ordinary in every way, but for Anna, it suddenly felt like the center of something extraordinary. David leaned back, studying her. "Tell me more about your siblings," he said. "You mentioned you have two younger ones." Anna hesitated for a moment. She wasn't used to opening up to strangers, but there was something about David that made her trust him, even after only a few minutes. "I have a brother and a sister," she began softly. "My brother is 12, and my sister is 10. Our parents, well, they passed away when we were very young. I don't remember them much, just pictures and old memories. So, I've been trying to take care of them for as long as I can remember." Her voice trembled slightly, and David noticed it. "You've had to grow up very fast," he said gently. "That's a heavy burden for anyone, especially someone your age." Anna looked down at her hands, twisting the hem of her sleeve nervously. "Sometimes I wonder if I'm doing enough. Some nights, I lie awake, worrying if I've missed something, like maybe they're hungry and I don't know, or maybe they need something I can't give them." David nodded slowly. "It's hard," he admitted. "Being responsible for others is one of the toughest things a person can do. But the fact that you care so much, that shows your heart. That's what matters more than anything else." Anna looked up, meeting his eyes. There was a softness in his gaze, a kindness she had not seen in a long time. "Thank you," she whispered. I don't want them to suffer. I'd do anything to make sure they're safe and happy." "And you are," David said firmly. "You've done more than most people would ever do. You've given them love, care, and protection. That's priceless." Her lips quivered, and she blinked back tears. She had never had anyone talk to her like this. People usually judged her, ignored her, or treated her as if she was invisible. But David, he seemed to see her, really see her, for the first time in her life. The waitress brought over another round of coffee for David and a glass of water for Anna. She gave Anna a curious glance, but didn't say anything. She must have noticed how different this interaction was, but she wasn't going to interrupt. Some things were best left alone. Anna took a sip of the water, grateful for the small gesture. "You're very kind," she said softly. "I don't think anyone has ever spoken to me like this before." David smiled faintly. "Kindness isn't hard," he said. "It's noticing someone and treating them with respect. That's all it takes. Most people just forget to look." She nodded slowly, thinking about the truth in his words. Most people had not looked at her, not really. And those who had, well, they had always done it with pity or judgment. But David's attention was different. It didn't make her feel weak. It made her feel seen. After a moment, she asked cautiously, "Can I ask you something?" "Of course," he said. Why are you talking to me like this? You don't know me. I'm just a girl who asked for leftovers. Why would you care?" David paused, considering his words carefully. "Because when I looked at you, I didn't see just a girl asking for food. I saw someone who had been through struggles, someone who hadn't given up. And I remembered something important: people like you remind me of what really matters." Anna frowned slightly, unsure what he meant. "What really matters?" "Hope," he said softly. "Strength. Perseverance. Caring for others, even when life is hard. That's what matters more than money, more than power, more than anything else in this world. And you have all of it, Anna. You just don't always realize it." Her chest tightened, and she swallowed hard. For the first time in years, someone had recognized her effort, her courage, and her heart. She wanted to cry, but she didn't. She wanted to run away, but she stayed. Something told her that whatever was happening here, right now, was important. David leaned forward slightly. "Tell me, Anna, do you have any dreams?" She blinked in surprise. Dreams. She hadn't thought about dreams in a long time. Most nights, she was just focused on survival, finding food, shelter, making sure her siblings were safe. Dreams seemed like a luxury she couldn't afford. I used to want to be a teacher," she admitted quietly. "I loved helping younger kids. I always wanted to make learning fun, to make them feel safe and smart and important." David's eyes lit up. "That's wonderful," he said. "You have a heart for others. You've already been teaching your siblings every day, whether you realize it or not. But maybe it's time to think about your dream again. Not just survival, but what you want for yourself too." Anna looked down, uncertain. "I don't know if that's possible anymore. Everything has been so hard, and now I'm just trying to keep us alive." David shook his head gently. "Sometimes, the hardest situations teach us the most important lessons. They show us what we can handle, and they prepare us for opportunities we never expected. But you have to allow yourself to see them." She looked up at him, confusion and curiosity mixed in her eyes. "Opportunities?" "Yes," David said firmly. "Opportunities. Life has a way of surprising us when we least expect it. And sometimes, meeting the right person at the right time can change everything." Anna's heart skipped. She wasn't sure what he meant, but the idea of something changing felt magical. For so long, she had felt trapped in her circumstances, as if life had closed all doors. But hearing his words made her feel a flicker of hope, a tiny spark she hadn't felt in years. David leaned back, sipping his coffee, then studied her again. "You remind me of someone I once knew," he said quietly. "Someone who had that same courage, that same heart. They believed in the good in people, even when it seemed the world had forgotten them. And it changed everything for them. It changed their life completely." Anna felt her chest tighten again. She didn't know if she could believe in miracles, not after everything she had been through. But sitting here with this man, something in her felt different. Maybe miracles could happen. The diner grew busier as night fell. The hum of conversations, the laughter of a few regular customers, and the soft clatter of dishes created a rhythm that made the moment feel alive. But for Anna and David, it felt like they were in a bubble, separate from the rest of the world. Finally, David spoke again. "Anna, I want to help you. Not just tonight, not just with food. I want to help you create a future for yourself and your siblings. I want to give you a chance to see that you are capable of more than just surviving." Anna blinked, stunned. I don't know what to say." "You don't need to say anything right now," he said gently. "Just listen, and believe that sometimes, people do want to help, and sometimes, life can surprise you in the most wonderful ways." Her heart raced. She had been given scraps of food, and now, he was talking about something bigger, something that could change her life completely. She wanted to believe him, but she was also afraid. Afraid that this was just another dream, one that would vanish when she woke. David smiled softly, as if reading her thoughts. "I know it's hard to believe, Anna. But you've already shown so much strength. You've taken care of your siblings, kept them safe, and stayed hopeful even when the world felt against you. You deserve this chance. And I promise you, I will do everything I can to make sure it happens." Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes. She had never experienced such generosity and understanding. For so long, she had been invisible, ignored, and struggling alone. And now, sitting across from this man who had everything, yet still saw her as important, she felt a miracle starting to unfold in her life. Outside, the city lights flickered, reflecting in the diner windows. Inside, the warmth of human connection filled the space. Anna realized that tonight was not just about food or chance. It was about hope, about being seen, and about a future she hadn't thought possible. As they sat together, talking quietly, Anna felt something she hadn't felt in years. She felt that her life could change, that miracles could happen, and that the world might not be as harsh as she had believed. And as she looked into David's eyes, she understood that sometimes, one moment of kindness could change everything. The next morning, Anna woke up earlier than usual. The sun had just begun to rise, casting a soft golden light through the small window of her apartment. Her younger siblings were still asleep, their faces peaceful and unaware of the worries that had filled their older sister's nights. Anna quietly slipped out of bed and walked to the small kitchen, her mind buzzing with thoughts from the night before. She couldn't stop thinking about David and his words. The kindness in his eyes, the way he had listened without judgment, and the promise he had made to help her, it all felt almost unreal. For years, Anna had believed that miracles didn't happen. Life had been a constant struggle, and she had learned to rely only on herself. But David had shown her something different, that people could care, and sometimes, the universe had a way of sending help when it was most needed. Anna prepared a small breakfast for herself and her siblings. She was careful not to wake them, but the aroma of scrambled eggs and toast slowly filled the apartment, and her brother's eyes fluttered open. "Anna, breakfast?" he asked sleepily. "Yes," she said softly, smiling. "Come, eat. I made something for both of you." Her sister sat up next, rubbing her eyes. "Smells good," she murmured. "You didn't have to wake up so early." Anna shrugged lightly, trying to appear calm even though her heart was racing. "I wanted to make sure we started the day right. Today could be a special day." Her brother looked at her curiously. "Special? How?" Anna hesitated. Could she tell them about David? About the chance that seemed to be opening up in front of them? She didn't want to worry them with things they might not understand yet. "Just trust me," she said finally. "Sometimes, good things happen when you least expect them." After breakfast, she helped them get ready for school. As they left, Anna watched them go, their backpacks bouncing on their small shoulders. She felt a mixture of pride and nervous anticipation. For so long, her life had been about surviving, about putting one foot in front of the other. Now, she wondered if she was truly ready to embrace change. The day at the diner passed slowly, the hours dragging as Anna tried to focus on her work. But her mind kept drifting back to David. She remembered his gentle smile, the calm way he had listened, and the sincerity in his words. She had never met anyone like him before. Most people were too busy with their own lives to notice someone like her, someone struggling but trying their best. David, however, had not only noticed her, he had believed in her. Around mid-afternoon, the diner's phone rang. Anna was near the counter when the owner, Mrs. Thompson, answered. Anna watched as Mrs. Thompson's face changed from mild curiosity to surprise. "Yes, oh, you are? Of course. I'll let her know," Mrs. Thompson said, covering the receiver. She turned to Anna. "A gentleman named David, he asked for you. He said it's important." Anna's heart skipped. He called me." Mrs. Thompson nodded. "He didn't leave many details. He just said it's urgent, and he wants to see you here." Anna's hands trembled slightly as she grabbed her coat. "Thank you," she whispered. She couldn't explain why, but she felt a wave of nervous excitement. David had promised a chance, a possibility. And now, it seemed, that chance was coming closer. Outside, the air was crisp, and the sun was beginning to dip behind the buildings. Anna walked quickly, her thoughts racing. What could this be? Why was he calling her? She kept telling herself to stay calm, but her heart pounded with anticipation. She arrived at a small office building downtown. David was already waiting outside, smiling when he saw her approach. "Anna," he said warmly, "thank you for coming so quickly." She nodded, trying to steady her voice. "You called, what is this about?" David gestured for her to follow him inside. "I wanted to discuss something important. Something that could help you and your siblings in ways that go beyond what you've imagined." Anna's curiosity grew, but she remained cautious. I. I'm listening." They entered a small office filled with sunlight streaming through tall windows. The walls were lined with books, and there was a sense of calm order in the space. David motioned for her to sit, and she did, feeling both nervous and excited. David took a seat across from her. "Anna, last night I saw something in you that I haven't seen in a long time. Your courage, your care for your siblings, your resilience, it's remarkable. I want to help you turn those qualities into something that can truly change your lives." Anna swallowed hard. I. I don't understand. How can you help?" David leaned forward. "I run a foundation that supports young people with talent and determination, especially those who have faced hardships. I want to offer you an opportunity to receive education and training, something that can open doors for you and your siblings. You've shown the strength to survive, Anna. Now I want to help you thrive." Tears welled in her eyes. She had dreamed of better days, of education, of opportunities, but life had never made it easy. And now, here was a man, someone she barely knew, offering her a chance she had never imagined. You mean it," she whispered. David nodded. "I do. But it's not just about money. It's about guidance, mentorship, and giving you tools to build a future. You've earned this chance through your strength and dedication." Anna felt a mixture of disbelief and hope. I. I don't know what to say. I never thought this could happen to me." "You don't have to say anything," David said softly. "Just trust yourself and your potential. You've already done so much with so little. Imagine what you could achieve with the right support." Anna's mind raced. She thought about her siblings, about the nights she had stayed awake worrying, about all the sacrifices she had made. If this opportunity worked, it could change everything. They could have a safe home, proper schooling, and a future she had only dreamed of. I. I want to try," she said finally, her voice steady. "I want to do whatever it takes." David smiled. "That's all I needed to hear. We'll start with small steps, one at a time. I'll make sure you have guidance at every stage. And remember, Anna, this is your life. You have the power to make choices, to create a future that reflects your courage and heart." For the first time in years, Anna felt a sense of relief and excitement she had never experienced. She wasn't just surviving anymore. For the first time, she had hope. Real hope. Over the next few weeks, David's team helped Anna organize her schedule, enroll her siblings in a better school, and provide resources she had never imagined possible. It wasn't instant or easy. There were forms to fill out, meetings to attend, and new routines to adjust to, but every step brought her closer to a life she had only dreamed about. She still worked at the diner, balancing her old life with the new possibilities. But now, every shift felt different. She saw herself not just as a struggling girl, but as someone capable, someone worthy of opportunities, and someone who had already survived more than most could imagine. Her siblings noticed the change too. They were happier, more confident, and more focused in school. They began to dream about their own futures, inspired by Anna's courage and now by the new doors opening before them. One evening, after closing the diner, Anna received a call from David. He wanted to meet and discuss the next steps in her training and mentorship program. As she walked to the meeting place, she reflected on how much had changed in such a short time. A simple act of asking for leftovers had led to something unimaginable. It reminded her that sometimes, courage was as simple as speaking up, and miracles could begin with the smallest gestures. When she arrived, David greeted her with a warm smile. "Anna, I'm proud of how you've handled everything so far. Your determination is inspiring." Anna felt her cheeks warm. "I couldn't have done it without your help," she said sincerely. David shook his head gently. "No, Anna. You did it yourself. I only provided the opportunity. You made the choices, faced the challenges, and showed the strength. That's what matters." Anna smiled, realizing he was right. For so long, she had believed she was powerless, but now she knew differently. She had the power to shape her life, to protect and support her siblings, and to embrace opportunities when they came her way. As they discussed plans for the future, Anna felt a surge of confidence. She would learn, grow, and build a better life not just for herself, but for her siblings. And for the first time, she truly believed that miracles could happen. Not just because of luck, but because of courage, kindness, and the willingness to take the first step. And in that moment, Anna understood something important: the world was full of unexpected chances, and even the smallest acts of courage could lead to life-changing miracles. Over the next few months, Anna's life began to transform in ways she had never imagined. The small apartment that had once felt cramped and suffocating now seemed brighter, not just because of the sunlight that poured through the windows, but because of hope that filled every corner. Her siblings were thriving in their new school, their eyes shining with curiosity and excitement. They asked questions, explored new subjects, and shared dreams that seemed larger than the small world they had known before. Anna often watched them with pride, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment she had never experienced. Anna herself had grown in confidence. She attended mentorship sessions, workshops, and training programs arranged by David's foundation. Every day, she learned something new: how to communicate effectively, manage challenges, and pursue her dreams with focus and determination. It wasn't always easy, some days were exhausting, and the weight of responsibilities sometimes felt heavy. But Anna had discovered an inner strength she didn't know she possessed. The struggles of her past had shaped her, preparing her to handle opportunities that once would have seemed impossible. Her work at the diner continued, but it had a different meaning now. Each customer she served, each plate she carried, reminded her of how far she had come. The diner wasn't just a place of work, it was a bridge between her past and her future. She often smiled at the thought that the same simple kindness she had once shown asking for leftovers had opened the door to a completely new world. One evening, after a long day of classes and diner shifts, Anna received a text from David. "Can we meet tomorrow? I have something important to discuss." Her heart skipped a beat. She had come to trust him completely, knowing that he had her best interests at heart. The next day, she arrived at the same small office downtown, where sunlight once again filled the room with warmth. David greeted her with a smile. "Anna, I've been watching your progress, and I am very impressed. You've taken every challenge seriously and shown remarkable determination. Today, I have something special to share with you." Anna felt a mix of curiosity and nervousness. "What is it?" she asked, trying to steady her voice. David gestured for her to sit. "We've identified an opportunity for you: a scholarship program that covers education, mentorship, and living support. It's designed for young people with potential who have faced hardships. You qualify, Anna. And I believe this program can help you and your siblings build a future you've dreamed of." Tears filled Anna's eyes. She had imagined opportunities before, but this was more than she had ever dared to hope. I I don't know what to say," she whispered. "You don't have to say anything," David said gently. "You only need to decide if you're ready to take this next step. You've already done the hard part, showing resilience, caring for your siblings, and never giving up. This is the chance to build on that foundation. Anna nodded, feeling a wave of determination wash over her. I'm ready, she said, her voice stronger than she expected. I want to do this, for myself and my siblings. David smiled, a proud and genuine expression that made Anna feel both comforted and motivated. Excellent. I'll help you through the application process and make sure you have all the support you need. You're going to do great things, Anna. I truly believe that. As Anna left the office that day, she felt a sense of excitement and responsibility. Her life was no longer defined by survival, it was now defined by choices, opportunities, and dreams. She walked through the city streets with a spring in her step, imagining the possibilities that lay ahead. Over the next few weeks, Anna worked diligently on her scholarship application. She spent late nights writing essays, gathering documents, and preparing for interviews. Her siblings often helped, offering encouragement and reminding her of how capable she was. It became a family effort, and with every completed task, Anna felt a renewed sense of purpose. Finally, the day arrived when Anna received a call from the scholarship committee. Her heart raced as she answered. Hello. Anna, a warm voice said, we've reviewed your application. We are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted into our program. Congratulations. Anna's hands trembled, and tears streamed down her face. I can't believe it, she said softly, her voice choked with emotion. Thank you so much. The acceptance meant more than education, it meant security, guidance, and a brighter future for her siblings. Anna called them immediately, sharing the good news. Their joy was infectious. They hugged her tightly, their laughter echoing through the small apartment, filling it with warmth and hope. In the months that followed, Anna's life continued to improve. She began attending the scholarship program, learning new skills, meeting inspiring mentors, and connecting with peers who shared her determination. Each day was challenging but rewarding. She grew not just academically but emotionally, developing confidence, resilience, and the courage to pursue her dreams. Her siblings flourished as well. They adapted to the new school, made friends, and excelled in their studies. Anna watched them with pride, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. For years, she had worried about providing for them, but now she saw a future where they could thrive, supported by love, guidance, and opportunity. One evening, after a long day, Anna reflected on the journey that had brought her here. From the small act of asking for leftover food to the kindness of a stranger who had believed in her, everything had led to this moment. She realized that life's struggles had not been wasted, they had prepared her for the challenges and opportunities of the future. She also thought about David, whose belief in her had changed everything. It wasn't just the material support he had provided, it was the faith he had shown in her potential. That faith had allowed her to see herself differently, to believe that she deserved a better life, and to take the steps necessary to achieve it. Anna understood something important: opportunities often appear in unexpected ways, sometimes through the kindness of others, sometimes through moments of courage, and sometimes through simple choices. She had chosen to act, to believe, and to persevere, and it had made all the difference. As the months turned into a year, Anna's life transformed in ways she had never dreamed possible. The scholarship program led to further educational opportunities. Her siblings continued to thrive. And the family, once struggling and uncertain, now lived with hope, security, and the promise of a bright future. Anna never forgot the simple lessons she had learned along the way. She remained humble, kind, and willing to help others, knowing firsthand the power of compassion and support. She often volunteered at community centers, helping young people in situations similar to what she had experienced. She became a source of inspiration, proving that even in difficult circumstances, perseverance and kindness could create life-changing opportunities. One afternoon, Anna received a message from David. Anna, you've done amazing things. I'm proud of how far you've come. Keep inspiring others, and remember, your journey is just beginning. Anna smiled, feeling gratitude and determination. She knew her journey had just begun, but she was ready. She had learned that life could be full of unexpected miracles, but those miracles required courage, patience, and the willingness to take the first step. As she walked through the city streets that evening, Anna felt a deep sense of peace. The struggles of the past no longer weighed her down, they had shaped her into a strong, compassionate, and determined young woman. She looked forward to the future with hope and excitement, knowing that she had the power to create the life she and her siblings deserved. Anna's story became one of inspiration for those around her. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers learned from her journey the power of perseverance, the importance of kindness, and the magic that could happen when someone believed in you. Her life, once filled with uncertainty and struggle, was now filled with purpose, opportunity, and hope. And through it all, Anna never forgot the simple act that had started everything, asking for leftover food, a small gesture that led to a life-changing encounter. She realized that even the smallest actions could have the biggest consequences, and that every choice mattered. In the end, Anna's journey was not just about success or opportunity, it was about courage, compassion, and the belief that life could change for the better, no matter how difficult the past had been. She had learned to trust herself, to embrace kindness, and to seize opportunities when they appeared. And she knew that this was only the beginning of a life filled with hope, love, and endless possibilities. Anna, once a young woman struggling to survive, had become a symbol of resilience and hope. Her siblings thrived, her future looked bright, and she carried the lessons of her journey with pride and gratitude. Life had tested her, but she had emerged stronger, wiser, and ready to embrace every opportunity that came her way. Through perseverance, courage, and the kindness of others, Anna had transformed her life completely. She had discovered that no matter how difficult the path, hope, determination, and belief in oneself could lead to extraordinary change. And as she looked ahead, she knew that the best was yet to come, not just for her, but for her family and everyone inspired by her journey.